thing. I received an education last year working with Councilman Roz Baraka in the Southwood in North New Jersey, who made me aware to the large sums of money that local politicians have access to. And you know, in the street, in the everyday grind, it's about get money. Everybody's trying to get money.
Sure.
And we end up trying to get money in all the wrong ways, where if we went the right way, work in the system, we could get access to enormous amounts of money. Do you have any idea what an assembly person from Queens, types of budgets that you have access to, that you would oversee?
Well, unfortunately, Governor Cuomo had eliminated member items on the Assembly and the Senate, so that's what you're talking about is discretionary.
Okay.
So we no longer have control of discretionary. Discretionary money is tax dollars used to provide money to non-profit organizations in the community and provide a free benefit to residents in the community, which will enrich the quality of life and prevent a lot of things from happening. For example, having youth programs so our youth don't go out spray painting and getting locked up for simple crimes that they really shouldn't be a part of in the first place. The city council, fortunately, still does have access to that discretionary money, and they also have capital budgets that they allocate money for bigger programs like rebuilding parks, building new wings for schools, installing computers, getting mobile blood donor vans, these different things. So even though as an assemblyman I won't have access to that type of budget, I still will be able to vote on the state budget. Now the state budget is for the entire statewide, and that provides money for services like the NYPD, FDNY, to the city council for matching dollar programs that unfortunately some of them have been cut, but the ones that still exist, to our local schools, to different things like that. So as an assemblyman, I will most certainly fight not only for my district to get the most money that we can get, but obviously for the entire state. Because unfortunately, I don't vote on just the budget for District 38, I vote for the entire state. And as much as I would love to say, hey, I only vote for my money, it's about everyone else's money too. So we really need to make sure that we vote on a budget that is obviously appropriating funds the best possible way, and obviously working with our local legislators, like the city council members, to ensure that they're aware of different programs that we as a state assembly member may be aware of, but they're not, so that way they can get the funding that they need.
You said unfortunately, but it seems like you should have said fortunately, because you have say-so on what goes on the state level.
Without a doubt.
And it's not just your district. So I'm trying to take an approach that might inspire young folks who maybe didn't have an idea of getting into politics or civil service, which is really what it's about, to try to inspire them to get involved, because even on a local level, you think assembly person, oh, that's not a big deal. No, it's a very big deal, because then you have say-so on what goes on the state level. You represent, right? We talk about represent hip-hop, we're going to represent. Well, here's your representative who represents Queens, that district, on the state level, and we need more of our people, hip-hop, to get involved so they can truly represent us on the larger scale.
Why don't you talk to us about the disconnect that elected officials and candidates feel that hip-hop has, like how much power that they see in hip-hop if we mobilize. Yeah, how does that look and how does that feel?
Well, I'll tell you personally, because we've lacked in funding since day one, the majority of our efforts have been from volunteers, including myself. Now, as you know, in order to get on the ballot for the election, you have to collect signatures, petition signatures from people who are registered in the district. We collected 3,127, you only need 500. And the way we did that was that every single day for the entire 35-day period, we were going out from 9 in the morning till 9 at night collecting signatures, which was not an easy task. I myself collected 937 signatures, and I knocked on over 2,000 doors. Now, out of those 2,000 doors, only 14 people, and I got the paperwork to prove it, knew who their assemblyman was. Now, what does that tell you? Let's forget about the hip-hop disconnect and everything else.
Right.
Let's just talk about the disconnect between the government and its constituency, the representatives who are there elected by supposedly the masses of the people. Well, this is a guy now that's been there for 3 years, and after 2,000 doors that I've knocked on throughout the district, only 14 people can tell me who he was, one of which who thought it was the basketball player for the Miami Heat. Now, I know he did really good in Game 6 against OKC last year, but that's not the point. The point is that we have a major constituency that isn't aware of who their local reps are. People tell me all the time, well, nobody cares who their local representatives are, so that's expected. Fine, it's expected. But that doesn't mean we should set the bar so low. We should be setting the bar high. And the fact of the matter is that even though I'm not elected, there are more people who know my name now, and as a result of me running, the incumbent's name, than ever before in his entire 3 years being in office. So what does that tell you? That tells you that me, with such little money that we have, we're able to do a bigger job than the person who's elected. That makes absolutely no sense. He can call press conferences whenever he wants. He can be in the papers whenever he wants. He's in the assembly and the legislature. He's recorded all the time. He can be putting those videos on YouTube. He can be be connecting to people on local level, walking the streets, shaking hands, getting into businesses, putting his poster up, putting his flyers out there, and letting people know what his phone number is, his office location, in a much more passionate way that I think he's not doing. And that's something that I myself, in only 3 months' time, have done. And already thousands of people in the district know my last name. They know Adorno right off the bat. I can't even drive down the block anymore because people stop me right away. Hey, you're Adorno. Hey, come over here. Let me talk to you. So, you know, that's just a clear example of what really needs to be done. And in regards to hip-hop, we have a lot of youth who are not interested in politics, who don't care about government, who say the government's not there for them. All they do is arrest them and harass them and put them into schools they don't want to be into and everything else, and put these programs against them that they don't like. Well, what I say to them is the fact of the matter is, whether you like government or not, it's there. So it's better to be a part of it, to engage in the system, learn the system, and make it harder for the people who think they run the system to continue to run it. Because the less people that vote, the less people they have to call on election day to come out and vote, which means the less representative the person actually is of the constituency that's there. We have a district of 124,000 people, and in 2010 during the primary only 2,300 people came out to vote. And in the general election only 13,000 people came out to vote. There's over 80,000 registered voters in that district. What does that tell you? That tells you that not only are they not interested, but they're not engaged. And we need to change that. And one way we can change that, especially particularly with the youth, is through music, through hip-hop, through other types of music that they listen to, through other types of venues. I actually have a friend who I'm going to be hooking up with. Now, hopefully we're going to be bringing a couple of hip-hop artists, including Lil Wayne possibly, to the district, whether I'm elected or not, just to engage the youth and remind them, hey, this is your life. This is your time. Don't waste it.
I just think the picture that you paint, as bleak as it may sound with the non-engagement, I think for me, that makes me, it inspires me. That means there's so much room for us to get in and really take power. Not be given power, but we can go take power just by simply getting involved. And that's why we're doing our event on the 14th through the 16th, the Hip Hop Counts weekend, is to inspire that engagement within hip hop so we can take power.
Exactly. Because, you know, I've been working alongside of a lot of the elected officials and kind of finding out what's going on in the political arena so we can step forward with it. And when I talk about hip hop, everybody's eyes lights up because they know that, as Mr. Jonah said, that if they get involved, then they have to work harder than they're already working. They have to be more accountable. There's more eyes on them. So I kind of got the message that don't wake a sleeping giant, you know, and we're the giants. And so I can't go along with that because, again, there's so many entrepreneurs in the community who need money, that are looking for money, nonprofits that are doing great work, and they can get money from the city council. The city council has money for programs in your district, but we don't know it, we don't get involved. So we're running around passing each other and passing by, and we're not even getting what we need out of the process. So yes, on September 14th through the 16th, the Hip Hop Counts political weekend. We have a great weekend, a two-part forum discussion, the Hip Hop to Vote discussion on the 14th, starting at 4 o'clock at Riverbank State Park. The hip hop voting dilemma and the hip hop voting perspective. You're going to see hip hop artists out, a lot of elected officials. Mr. Adorno coming back out. We have on Saturday we have Congressman Rangel and former Mayor David Dinkins sitting down with members of the hip hop community to talk about what their Gang of Four was about, how they built the dynasty they built, and how Charlie Rangel is now the oldest statesman in the country, that's the longest serving statesman. We need to know what he went through. We need to know what we need to know for the future. And then on Sunday, there's the African American Day Parade, where we have a great group of Crips and Bloods. Yes, I said Crips and Bloods doing voter registration, because we can't talk about it, we got to be about it. We've got to enact it, we've got to reach out to the members of our community that we don't think can be engaged, and engage them and let them know that if you get down with this process, if you become a part of this process, something will happen. If we don't do anything, nothing can happen. And then on Sunday evening, we have an intimate dinner for the elected officials to come out and show their support and let us know that hip hop counts at Ben and Jack's Steakhouse on 29th Street with Chrisette Michelle, Grammy Award winning artist, comedian Gerald Kelly, and none other than Mr. Hakim, that's going to really break down what it is, this hip hop dilemma. What is this hip hop dilemma that everybody has? Anytime that anybody says hip hop, they go running in the corner. We have to stop light to it, and we have to make sure that it's shown at all times. So September 14th through the 16th, Hip Hop Counts Political Weekend. Need you in the building. Make this powerful.
Riverbank Park, 145th Street, starts at 4 o'clock on Friday.
Good. This is your boy Alizé, and I'm bigging up the Hip Hop Union and our Assemblyman-elect, Brother Adorno. Just want to thank the Hip Hop Union for having me out today. I hope that we can work collaboratively together in the future. As you know, the election is September 13th, so if you're a registered Democrat and you live in District 38, come out and vote for Adorno, and let's start the first steps to change. This is Etienne David Adorno, and I am a citizen of hip hop.